Hi, I'm Jack Baruzzini, and you're listening to The Secret to Stargate, where we talk about the hidden meanings and deeper layers found in the Stargate movies, TV series, and more. And joining me today are Father Cory Sticha. Hi, Father.
Howdy, Jack.
And Lisa Jones. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Jack.
And Victor Lambs. Hey, Victor.
Hi, Jack.
Today we're discussing the 11th episode of Season 6, Prometheus. Fortunately, we're not talking about the rather middling Ridley Scott movie that just ends up ruining the Alien movies. Major Samantha Carter is confronted by journalist Julia Donovan about a secret project called Prometheus. Donovan shows Carter a sample of the extraterrestrial metal trinium. Carter reports the incident to Hammond at Stargate Command. To prevent the stories released, Carter, Hammond, and Major Paul Davis allow Donovan and her crew into the facility to cover the story, planning to destroy the footage afterward. It is revealed that the Prometheus is the first interstellar starship built by humans using reverse-engineered alien technology. However, Donovan's crew turn out to be rogue NID agents and take control of the Prometheus. They demand the release of Frank Conrad and Adrian Simmons in exchange for not destroying the ship and thus destroying all of Arizona. After the hostages are delivered and the Prometheus takes off, the Goa'uld inhabiting Frank Conrad takes over Simmons. Jack and Teal'c board the ship in an X-302 and help to retake the ship. Simmons is blown out into space, and Thor arrives at the last moment, revealing that the Asgard homeworld has been overrun by the replicators. That's where we end on a cliffhanger. What are your thoughts on this episode, Father?
Well, we get to see the first battleship, battle cruiser of the Towery, although it's Adrian Conrad and Frank Simmons, not the other way around, as you put it.
Yeah.
Well, there I go for it. Yep.
Yeah. No, this is when we're starting to get, they're getting more serious about advancing the technology of Earth. And so we see the first of many battle cruisers that will eventually go between Earth and the Pegasus galaxy for Atlantis. And yeah, and of course it's one of these, we can't just, release it normally. Oh no, it's got to be like, they take over the ship and launch it and put it into hyperspace and all that. So no, it's a good enough episode. It really is. It's got a little bit of action to it, and we get to see Frank Simmons get ejected into space. So that's a good thing too.
It's always fun. I did actually have it written correctly in the show notes. I just got some dyslexia going on, I guess.
I'm kidding.
What about you, Lisa?
Yeah, I don't know. It felt very long, and I felt like there wasn't enough team interaction. I mean, plot-wise, it was fine, and I always like to see John Delancey, so that's good. Mm-hmm. But, just not one of those I want to watch over and over again.
I think it was worth it just for seeing the ship. I'm a ship guy, so...
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I already
just for that.
I already predicted that y'all are going to have a whole, ship fest that's very different than my ship fest tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the first thing I did after watching the episode was I went and looked up the specifications for the ship and size comparisons, because I want to know how big it is and how many decks it has and all that kind of stuff. So,
yep.
Yeah, I need to get the schematics or a technical manual for it. What about you, Victor? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I like this one too. Almost exclusively because it does introduce the ship. There's a lot of callbacks to other, movies. We get to see Sam Carter do Die Hard. Mm-hmm. The little base in the desert where the ship is stored is kind of an homage to Spies Like Us when they, go out to the desert and their secret spy base is there. And we get to see Colonel Sanders from Spaceballs.
Yep.
George Weiner is in it, and regular in the Mel Brooks movies and Fletch movies and stuff. And so it was good to see him. And even though he turns out to be a snake in the grass, as it were.
Yep. I mean, he's a TV producer.
Yeah, I guess so.
You can kind of see it coming, just the way his character was played.
Sleaze. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of calls back to the last disclosure where I think it was season 1 or early season 2, where the reporter's like, I know what's going on. And then he's assassinated or something. So,
that's right.
So we kind of get a retread of that a little bit, but it's maybe handled a little bit better here. Although the whole thing is the setup. It's revealed, by the NID, or at least by the Conrad Simmons wing of the NID.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I enjoyed it mostly after they already got on the ship and all that was going on. I thought that was really good, but I feel like a lot of the setup you just gotta kind of hand wave, because the whole thing is the reporter has a scoop on this story that's coming from a leak, which we end up finding out is premeditated and planned so they can get on the ship. But I really feel like the way the government would actually handle this wouldn't be, all right, you can come film it and then we'll destroy the tapes. It would just be, we're going to disappear you if you say anything about this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure we get a hold of the tapes before it airs, because, we can do things like pull the plug on your TV station. So, hey.
Right. So the whole setup for getting them into the ship really didn't make sense. And the fact that there weren't guards like at every single corridor, like they go on there, just those 4 and the camera crew, like.
And a couple of airmen that kind of tag along behind them.
2 guards.
Yeah.
And I guess Richard Dean Anderson wasn't thrilled about that either, that these people could steal the ship, because, Malazzi said, and this is on the wiki, that he was very upset by it, didn't want Jack O'Neill to be on the ship when they took it, because there's no way Jack would have allowed him to take it. And there's a scene midway through where Jack storms on and is like yelling at everybody about, how could you let them take the ship? How is this possible? And that was written, I think, but may have been improvised. To address his concerns.
The anger was real.
Yeah, the anger was real, yeah.
It was also funny watching this, and because of the perspective of the show, you're rooting for the secretive government to keep their advanced technology under wraps against the people trying to reveal it, which is the opposite of the way most of these plots go. Usually you're on the side of the plucky reporter who's exposing the government, but right here you're like, I kind of want them to just take care of the problem because these are the characters we like.
Yeah.
She was like one of the most sympathetic characters too, after all was said and done. Yeah. Like, she's like a pain at first, but then, she comes around and stuff. And,
well, it was funny though. Okay. So the whole purpose of her getting on the ship was to film, and she goes one way and her film crew goes the other way, and her film crew don't immediately start filming, and she doesn't have a camera with her.
Right.
Yeah. So exactly how was she supposed to film?
Yeah.
And how was,
I kind of chalk that up to the fact that it's just been revealed to her in the space of like 10 minutes that not only do aliens exist, but humans have been interacting with them, and humans have built a massive starship capable of interstellar travel with anti-gravity and all this stuff. So I can kind of give that a pass as just shock, because she seemed to assume it was some sort of like fusion reactor, which is cool, but that's not like we actually have a spaceship and are talking to aliens.
Yeah, the fusion reactor is in the spaceship.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, plus, she's the talent, the technical crew will go off and do their thing, right? They'll get their microphones and everything set up, and she doesn't need to be bothered with any of that.
She seemed to know a lot.
I do love the line about her. So all this came from little green men? Well, they were gray, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they have that cover story about a ship that crashed in like Fairbanks in 1967 or something, and you're like searching back through your mind, like, okay, what season, what episode did that happen in? And it's just like something they just made up, on the spot.
Jonas. Yeah, Jonas calls her out on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then they say better than Roswell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they should have tied it in the mythology of the show somehow.
The reporter woman did seem to know a lot about, because they mentioned about how fast the ship could reach orbit or whatever, and she's like, or just to get it off ground, what did she say? Like, that would take 20 Saturn rockets. And I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like that's very common knowledge stuff.
SpaceX Twitter feed.
Yeah.
X feed.
The SpaceX X feed.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. I did like that they mentioned Fairbanks because I lived there. I've actually lived there twice. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a nice place. I didn't see any alien ships though. So.
I don't know.
But yeah, I liked. It's funny that like all the interiors of the ship are finished. Like everything's done, but they're saying it's very far from being done. And I do like how when they take off, like, all the lower decks haven't been pressurized yet, so Carter's got to climb up through the conduits to get to the part of the ship that's actually livable. So it was nice that they had that detail in there.
And that she locks herself in a closet with all of this random things that she has to MacGyver a radio. And
exactly.
Yep.
There happens to be that what'd she say, like a laser cutter or some plasma
on
cutter?
torch, yeah.
Plasma cutter. Yeah.
Which, why does everybody always cut the hole too big? It takes like 30% more time. Just cut it wide enough for your shoulders or your hips, right? I mean,
Because it's hot? I don't know.
I know. I mean, it's just so when she crawls through it, she's not like going out the birth canal or something. But,
Yeah.
But yeah,
Cut it wide enough to stick your arm through and turn the handle.
there's an idea. Or yeah,
Yeah. Or start cutting from the bottom so you only have to cut like 3/4 of it.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, because then you don't need
Just cut one line straight across.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never had to escape from a room with a blowtorch, so
Yeah, it's. I guess.
But
that's
now
easy
you've
to-
thought through it, so when it happens, you know how to
Exactly.
do it efficiently.
yeah, there we go.
And I like how
At
the
least-
only
at least
group
she's
that
able
people-
to-
Okay,
At least she's able to cut through the unobtainium metal.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
the trinium or whatever. Yeah,
Yep.
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, if the whole ship's built out of trinium, I mean, that's a lot of trinium. But we'll see later that they do have mines where they mine it and stuff. So it's not all coming from
From the
Shoshone's
Native
Creek or
American
whatever. Yeah,
planet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's apparently that's where they discover it, but there's other
yeah.
sources of it out in the universe, so we don't end up with a plot where they're taking precious resources from a Native American tribe, which I don't think would really be a good look for the Stargate program.
Yeah.
And Hammond gets to call the president again because apparently whenever there's a reporter snooping around, you have to call the president, I suppose.
Yep.
But yep.
Yeah, is that I feel like these kind of issues would be handled at a lower level
Yeah.
of the government, but
Well, they kind of tried. I mean, they sent Major what's his name, and
Major
that didn't
Davis.
work out too well. Major Davis, yeah, that
Yeah.
didn't work out too well.
Well, not with his attitude.
yeah, he
Well,
was.
we won't
he-
do anything to you. We'll just do something to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did not handle that particularly well.
No.
I mean, think about it. When he negotiated with the Russians, did he handle that well either?
That's true. He doesn't have a good track record with negotiating tense situations.
No.
Might
He
need
works
to find
best.
someone else.
Yeah, he works best when he's cheering Teal'c and Jack on to get on the X302 and jump on the ship. I love that part. He's like,
Mhm.
get in that and go. Yeah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we not have Anubis's death glider? It's like, yeah, you could totally just fly right up to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
stay
even the
right
302,
here,
it was
you
the
do.
301,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Which we don't see that part because again, they understand budgets and stuff and you know, they had to build the CG ship model and have a couple effects shots with that. But yeah, I mean, the beginning part, they could have cut like 5 minutes out of that and shown more of like the Death Glider approach and stuff. But
Yeah.
I guess next episode's kind of effects heavy too. So
I feel like they've probably got enough like stock footage of a Death Glider flying through space at this point. They could have thrown something together.
yeah. And then people have been like, why is Braytech in just that shot or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it HD at this point? Could you tell?
Yeah.
Just hold up like a mock-up of the front of the cabin.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the front glass, just hold it in front of the camera
Yeah.
and then do the CG of the Prometheus.
And then spin the camera so it looks like they're like,
yeah, they're kind of spinning as they're coming in. Yeah.
Just do the Ed Wood airplane cockpit setup.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Just 2 chairs and a curtain.
Yeah.
From Plan 9 there. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and it's I like that all the ship has like they've got all the alien technology in there, but then everything is just run through good old CRT monitors and
hmm
those nice beige keyboards. So it's cool to
They've
see
got a
that.
couple black ones.
That's true.
Yeah,
And they've got
upgrade.
the big projection screen on
Yep.
the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The subsequent ships get a little fancier and stuff, but I do like this one just because and I do like the progression of, you know, the ships keep well, we won't spoil it, but, you know, they do progress, but not,
Yep.
You know, so it's, yeah. So I do like the Prometheus and then the other Prometheus class ones that we get.
Mhm.
I just think it's interesting they went from like Death Glider size to like massive ship.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bigger.
X301 was little,
Yeah.
X302 was pretty little, and then X303 is like,
It's an aircraft carrier.
yeah. Nothing
Yeah,
in between.
I do find the naming convention odd because X301 and 302, like you said, they're fighter craft basically, and then this is a completely different kind of ship. Like you wouldn't put like a P-50 Mustang or whatever it's called in the same class as a battle cruiser, like in the name progression. But,
yeah. Well, I mean, P is pursuit, X is just experimental, right? So
Yeah,
because
that's what the X means.
yeah.
It's like, and of course we got to bring up our required Star Trek reference, the NX class ships.
Right. Those are all the experimental ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because we'll have other experimental ships we'll see later.
Yes. And the speaking of the specs, the Prometheus is almost 700 feet long, so it's a big ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you went from something that holds 2 people to something that holds
hundreds.
Yeah.
Potentially.
It's got 17 decks.
Why not?
Yeah, maybe they were like building an aircraft carrier, and then someone said like, "Hey, we can put like a hyperdrive engine on this and stuff." You just gotta
there you go.
Change
It
the way
makes
it
me
looks.
think of have you seen Space Battleship Yamato?
yeah. They dredge up the Yamato, right?
They bring the Yamato up, they resurface it, and then they turn it into a spaceship. It's completely impractical, but it's also amazingly awesome because it's a battleship in space.
Yeah.
So
just like the Titanic in Doctor Who. They didn't bring it up.
Right.
They didn't dredge up the original Titanic, but they built a new one, but it's a spaceship version of it. And it looks just like the Titanic with spaceship engines on it.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah. The Kylie Minogue episode.
Right. So this is the last we see of Simmons. I'm kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yep, it is.
Mm-hmm.
He gets goulded and then he gets blown out in space.
All within about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Think about
it. Doesn't spend much time as a Gould.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I do like where Adrian Conrad starts doing the whole, when he was the Gould, saying like, I can't believe you're humans. You think you can do all this. And Tim was just like, shut up.
Yeah. Not impressed.
Yeah. But it was the Gould that got the hyperdrive working.
That's
when
true.
it was months
true,
away
yeah.
from working. Yeah. It's like what makes you think you can explore the stars. Yeah. And then but Jonas is wily and crafty, and he's gonna stop he's kind of trying to lock out the computers and stuff and doing the other end of the Die Hard thing. And his big thing is to pull the control crystal, and then like you hide like candy from your kids or something by putting
hide it in the drop ceiling.
Yeah, or like you hide their present or like whatever, they're being bad, and you hide their switch up there. And instead of just breaking the control crystal, which would obviously that would end the episode, because it'd be like, oh well, we can't take off now.
And they all died.
Yep.
Well, I don't think the Gould would actually blow himself up. I mean,
well, the ship was in orbit when he did, or was not completely in orbit when he did that.
no, I think it was still on the ground, right? Wasn't it? Or
No,
It hadn't taken off yet when he had pulled the crystal.
Yeah.
are you
out.
sure?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
they took off, and then they said they lost the controls.
No, that was when Carter cut
Oh,
them.
that was Carter did it.
Oh yeah, that's Carter to
Yeah.
He locked. That's right. He locked
Carter.
out.
He
their-
ran a
so
diagnostic
they couldn't
and
even
locked
get to
them
the
out.
point of
Yeah.
doing anything
but
with
then
the computer.
Slimy TV producer.
Yep, he was in
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, but he paid for it with his life.
Yep.
Because then the one guy who's always plays like the werewolf or whatever in the shows, forget that actor's name. I'll have to look it up. But the main bad guy with like the soul patch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was supposedly like had been a Marine or something like that and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
jumped ship.
Yeah, I like how when Jack asks about the background process for the crew, they're like, well, they all used to be in the military and they've all worked at this place for at least a year. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's good enough for letting someone into a above top secret facility.
And can we talk about, like, why did they say check the cameras before they let them in? Make
Yeah.
sure that they were actually
least-
like cameras.
Look in the bags. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
Zats. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Ian Tracy played Smith, and he was also on Continuum, which is where I probably knew him from the most, as well as Time Cop. Too. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, Time Cop has a lot of Stargate alums in it.
Yes, that's same kind of era, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't even think of that. They didn't do any sort of security checks on the people going in there.
Yeah, good idea. Let's let them bring in a laptop. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I've been in a skiff. You can't take anything. You have to take your Fitbit off. Like, they're not going to.
No.
Yeah, they're not going to let you take a laptop.
No, I guess like you go home. Of course, when I was last in a skiff was in the mid 90s when they didn't have things like, smartphones, but you couldn't take your cell phones in, and, you had to put them in little bins that basically looked like mailboxes.
Mm.
So they couldn't use it while you're in there.
Right, yeah. No, they're very strict about that. And this was also post 9/11 too, so I feel like they would have been even more aware of that kind of thing. But the plot's got a plot, so
Exactly.
they should have revealed that there was someone else working on the inside that kind of let people through.
Mm-hmm.
That would have cleared that plot hole up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The whole base is like, there's only those 2 soldiers working at that entire base. We don't see any scientists. Like, I don't know if we do, like in the windows or anything, see scientists running around or anything, but I don't recall. Like,
nope. They got them out of there before the press came in, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I think they saved
they
saved budget on having like an actual base by just having the base be underground and use that little guard post, and so you don't have to do anything with the sets for the base, and that's how you get around that.
Set up the guard post out on their sand dunes that they film at.
Yep. That's exactly where it was.
Yeah, just throw up a plywood building and give it those military base colors, and you're good to go.
Yep.
Throw some elevator doors behind the main door.
Well, you can see it right behind Victor on the video.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see what we're talking about.
Yep. Actually, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the actual elevator scene was filmed in the elevator set.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
So they didn't even have to put in like a new elevator.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. But they'll get their money's worth out of that Prometheus set,
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see that not just as ships, but also as space stations and lots of other stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you build yourself a couple rooms and some corridors, and you can reconfigure them as needed, and you got all your space stuff. It's always funny to look up because when you're watching a show, obviously you're thinking of it in terms of the show, like how everything's laid out. But then when you look at the actual set layouts for things like the SGC or like the Enterprise D, it was like 2 big looping corridors in the rooms, and like it's not set up how it actually is in the show, and it's funny to kind of do that mental switch.
Mm.
Exactly.
Or like how the original Enterprise, the turbolift door isn't like oriented towards the view screen, which can only mean that the entire bridge is shifted like 15 degrees off center or something. You can look at it.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a debate that is ongoing.
Yeah.
And the only reason why they did that, it was better for filming to put the door offset from
the chair
center.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. And then, so the reason that the Gould and Simmons want the ship is so that they can go to some coordinates where, back when Simmons or Mayborn, that's a nice shout out to Mayborn, had his off-world operation. He learned about a secret tablet that had directions to an ancient storehouse, or so they say, and so they wanted to fly there and get it, but they didn't account for the instability of the Naquadria and the engines, and so then when they come out of hyperspace, they're all lost.
Well, and you've got the captive Gould who's translating it for them into the coordinates they can use. So of course he's going to give them the exact right coordinates. Wink. Wink.
Yeah.
That probably played into it as well.
Yeah, I wonder if he was trying to double cross them. I mean, obviously he was. They were trying to double cross each other.
Yeah.
I feel like
it wasn't a question of if, it was when and how bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He'd probably wait till after he got the ancient weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like at one point when the Gould is going off on Simmons, he says like, "Spare me the supervillain line."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Just completely hang a lantern on the Gould being cartoonish at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It doesn't even matter who they are, which one they are, if they're someone that Gould's not been around a while or what. It doesn't matter. They're all the same.
Yep.
And it's a good thing that Jack memorized the outside door access code before he came on the ship, so he could use a little panel to open it up. And it seems kind of like dangerous to me to have like a door to outside, like just on the corridor.
Yeah,
like with a keypad or something. I don't know. Maybe they'll fix that or something later. Like you just be walking by and be like,
There's even something like, emergency egress or emergency equipment inside or something like that on a door that supposedly leads outside.
Mm-hmm.
I assume, maybe they just hadn't added the they hadn't added the airlock module yet. Let's just headcanon it that way.
Yeah. Well, they did say that one of the airlocks wasn't ready yet, so maybe that was it.
Okay, there you go.
I did like how in that scene, that's where Simmons, who's now been enguldened, he's knocked Jack over and he's about to take out Teal'c with looks like a pipe wrench.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jack opens the door and vents him out into space, and he and Teal'c have to hang on at the end. And they did do the proper procedure where if you're ever in a spaceship and you're going to be vented into space, you want to get as close to like the wall, because then there's less gas that can push you out. So
there you go.
They did the right thing.
As Jimmy Aiken reminds every time there's somebody getting ejected.
Well, there's another reminder.
I hope there's some plastic construction netting there or whatever it is that they grab onto there. Yeah.
I really, really wanted Teal'c to say "Never let go, Jack" during that scene. But we didn't get that.
And he didn't even give Teal'c like the heads up.
No, he didn't.
No.
Yeah, Teal'c's just kind of on the floor there, right? And then he just like...
Well, he figured he's on the floor, so he's probably safer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard this on a podcast once. Burp, burp, burp.
Yeah.
And you actually want to, you get up against the wall and wait for the pressure to equalize between, the outside and the inside or something. And then it won't suck you out anymore. And then you can just like,
because it doesn't suck you out, it pushes you out.
Yeah.
Yeah. As Data reminded us in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Blown out, not sucked out.
Yep.
Anyways, so after they retake the ship, we get the reveal of Thor is back in a fancy robotic-looking wheelchair.
And a new body.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's his Supreme Commander Thor chair. Like whenever he's commanding a ship and then beams over with the chair, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, Michael Shanks voiced him again.
Yep.
So.
Mm-hmm. And he's got a new problem that only SG1 can solve.
Yes. And this brand new, untested, not even complete ship can solve.
Yeah. It's another O'Neill class, I think, right? Or something. I'm not sure.
Well, the ship that flew in was, but the Prometheus is the one I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. And next episode begins with, I think, probably like one of the funniest like bits of situational comedy in all of
nice.
SG1. So
nice.
I think it's really funny, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did like how excited Jack was when he saw him. He's like, "Hey, buddy, I thought you were getting a new body."
Yeah,
I did. Oh, looks good.
He was probably thinking of the one from like 1,000 years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah,
before they did all their
the handsome Squidward, Beldar Conehead. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd completely forgotten this was a two-parter, and that's how it ended. So that was, I'm thinking, oh, save the day, it's all fine. And then Carter's like, I don't know where we are. And Jack's like, that's fine.
We're at,
we don't need to know where we are. Just take us home.
Yeah.
Which I love that.
I guess it would take a while to like figure out from the stars, like exactly like without a computer that could do that or something.
Yeah. I was going to say, it would be interesting if I mean, obviously I think computers now would be powerful enough where they could actually do that fairly easily.
Yeah. You just get your Star Walk app out on your phone and
exactly.
The augmented reality.
Yeah.
Play relaxing yoga music while you look around.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have Wi-Fi in space? I'm just checking.
Oh, no, but you can download most of it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Download the entire galaxy to your phone.
Yeah.
Storage, 500 terabytes.
Yeah.
Darn it, I'm a little short.
But yeah, it is like nominally a two-parter. It does say like Prometheus Part 1 and then the next one. Part 2, but they're not
selection.
A natural selection Part 2, but they're not. I mean, the stories are completely different.
Right.
I mean,
it's just a way to keep. They're in space. They don't have to go back to the SGC first.
Well, they
Right.
do, but-
They have to offload some people, but yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing where in serialized TV, they wouldn't even bother with it to be continued because it would just keep
Yeah.
going.
It would be continued. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you
So
don't think about that. That is unusual for back in 2000 and what are we, 2000?
2002.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I just realized looking at when they premiered?
Yep.
So Prometheus was August of 2002 and the next one, Unnatural Selection, wasn't until January of 03. So this was our break.
Oh, mid-season
Oh.
break.
so
Okay.
it was
Yep.
6 months? Yeah.
So they needed
And-
kind of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
We're at I guess 21 years since this episode aired.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just about. Yeah.
And
Just-
we're almost halfway through the season.
Yep.
Right at halfway through the season.
It should be halfway
Yeah.
through, more or less.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
22 episodes. So 11.
Yeah, I turned 11 2 days after this episode came out. So
Yeah. And I think,
Ah.
this could have been on my birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I was 25 2 months before this
I
episode.
was a
aired.
little older, and I think
Yeah, I was too.
I was teaching my son how to play GameCube. At the
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was playing GameCube probably.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at seminary. Actually, probably was checking back into seminary after the summer. So
Nice. Awesome. Do we have any alternate language titles for this?
Not
Or is
really.
it-
They were
yeah.
all Prometheus. The interesting thing is that in some languages, they actually said Prometheus in English instead of like whatever it was in their native language. But I mean,
Prometheus.
nothing interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Prometheus.
Yeah, Prometheus is probably idiomatic
Yeah.
enough of a term at this point.
Well, it's a-
that,
Greek term. So
right,
Mhm.
so that's where it comes from. Yeah. Awesome. Did y'all have any other thoughts on this episode?
I did get a kick out of the laptop. I think they basically just booted up Linux on it, like old, 2002 era Linux, because that looked like the old black Linux boot screen when they
Oh,
first
probably.
booted up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
nice.
So they probably just did something like that just through, and that way so it could look like it's, super high tech doing things, and really all it's doing is just booting.
It's just whatever version of Debian was out then.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Starship Edition or whatever. Starship
Yeah.
distro.
I kind of was laughing because when we see Julia Donovan, you forget that in 2002 how popular that short blonde haircut.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
because you
Yeah.
saw Jack's first wife had that same little short haircut. Carter has it. She has it. You're going to have Dr. Weir's going to have it. Like,
Yeah.
it's like how many women can we have with this exact same haircut? Oh, and then we had the other NID girl. Remember, she had it. And
Yep, yep.
anyway, I laughed. I'm like another.
That was the thing back then.
It was a very Faith Hill had that haircut back then. It's like a very popular haircut.
Yeah.
But I just cracked me up because you kind of forget 20 something years later how popular short hair was.
I feel like watching shows from now, it's going to be like, I see a lot of people like the shave, like really short shaved sides. Like
Yeah.
that seems to be in. So
And a little bit of
Yeah.
color on one side, or yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be the thing we'll be laughing at in 20 years. I'm
Will not age well.
Yeah.
trying to think of any haircut that really ages well.
Claudia Christian's Lieutenant Ivanova in Babylon 5, her style is still on
It's pretty
fleek.
basic. Yeah.
True. We need
Did
to
you
bring
say
back
on fleek?
beehives.
Yeah.
Go all out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did you have any other thoughts on this episode?
I did like the reveals of the ship. First we kind of see it in the grungy lighting in the cave or whatever under the base, and then
Mm-hmm.
you get to see it like zipping up into space. And so it was kind of cool the way it was revealed. I mentioned Babylon 5, which was made, 7 years.
10 years before this.
Yeah. And just, I don't know, maybe it was because that was made on film and this was made on video. I think the CG could have been crisper, but that's just me. I think it's just the transfer to video that makes it look kind of muddy.
Yeah. As a Star Trek fan, I'm disappointed we didn't get a 10-minute flyby of it when they revealed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
playing the Stargate theme on loop. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We
true.
did get to see the Jeffries tube. So
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I don't know what would they call it that would be the equivalent. The Malazzi tube.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. Well, before we go, we'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create The Secret to Stargate, including Scott S., Miguel G., Alvin W., Deacon Anthony R., and Kristen E. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue The Secret to Stargate and all the shows at StarQuest, and you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. And be sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or on the SQPN YouTube channel. To find previous episodes of Secret to Stargate and to send feedback, please visit sqpn.com/stargate. And you can email us at stargate@sqpn.com or follow StarQuest on social media at facebook.com/starquestmedia or on Twitter at sqpn. And we'll be back next time and we'll be discussing the next episode of SG1, Unnatural Selection. Until then, Father Cory, thank you for joining me and sharing the secret to Stargate.
Thank you, Jack.
And Lisa Jones, thank you as well.
Thanks, Jack.
Victor Lambs, thank you too.
Thanks, Jack. And I'm going to need a change of clothes. Something nice.
I'll start thinking about that. I'll go to a men's warehouse.
Yeah.
I'm going to like the way I look.
Once again, I'm Jack Baruzzini. Thank you for listening to The Secret to Stargate on StarQuest.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but that just happens to be how I feel about it. What do you think?